Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Tonight on Our News, consumers feeling the pinch amid a hike in grocery prices.
Breaking news.
The Dexta Daps concert called off. We'll tell you why. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, budget your money. That's the advice coming from a Super Value executive who's predicting further increases to grocery store prices. This as local businesses and residents are expressing their dissatisfaction with the hike in prices. Bethany McDermott has the details.
Businesses and residents feeling the pinch amid an increase in grocery store prices. Tropical Euro owner Chef Kevin Colmer said he's seen a remarkable increase in the price of meat in recent months.
My meat went up from $67 a case to $167 a case in June of last year.
Our News ventured inside and found some items that saw a remarkable increase, like this bag of large cooked Panama shrimp priced at $43.99. Colmer isn't alone. Others expressed their dissatisfaction as they left a popular grocery store.
Take this receipt. I even need one. Look. This receipt is ridiculous. Couple items. And I spending $200 on 4, sometimes 2 and 3 items. And it's ridiculous, man. This ain't right. This you got to do better. You got to do better. We put you there. You got to help us.
Look like the price went up high on just about everything. Bread now is basically like 4 something. The mayonnaise gone up to about almost $7-9. The price on just about everything has gone up.
As far as I see, everything I buy, just go up more and more every day. One time it like just simple as on the cooking oil, jumped from $12.50 to $26.
According to Super Value Chief Financial Officer Debbie Simonet, there seems to be no end in sight for what seems to be increasing grocery store prices. She said the company itself has been experiencing price hikes from its suppliers. While she said the company has been making attempts to hold off on price hikes by buying ahead, an increase in prices is inevitable. Back in August, Super Value owner Rupert Roberts warned consumers of a 15% price hike in early 2022. Simonet sought to explain other factors contributing to the rise.
It can be anything from the labor, it could be a labor problem or a shutdown of a factory, shortage of supply. And then, of course, we have the big trucking issue or the shipping. Well, both of them actually. Shipping, you see the big ships in the harbor unable to move because the cargo is still piled on the ships. Suppliers are not able to get their goods off of the ship on a timely basis.
Now, many were under the impression that the change in value-added tax to 10% would result in a decrease in grocery store bills. But according to Simonet and a few consumers we spoke to today, that hasn't been the case.
You also must remember there was a 10% increase because on breadbasket items, there was no VAT before, and now there's VAT on those items. So that is coupled with the inflation that has presented itself lately. So it's a double whammy.
So for my business especially, that equates to a few $100s a week extra.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Well, 2 heavily promoted Valentine's concerts headlined by popular reggae artist Dexta Daps have officially been scrapped after the Ministry of Health revealed that organizers' applications have been denied. Jasmine Brown reports.
The health minister addressing the controversial concert today, insisting it has been denied not only once, but twice.
My team at the Ministry of Health and Wellness received an application from the concert promoters, and on January the 17th, it was denied. They were allowed to submit a second application, and it was not approved as well.
On Monday, concert promoters had said it's still on, despite not getting MOH approval. However, hours after Dr. Darville spoke to the press today, concert promoters announced on Facebook that the concert will no longer be held after being denied approval. The Post also said ticket holders will get a refund. The Dexta Daps performances were slated for this Friday at the Queen Elizabeth Sports Center and on Saturday at Goombay Park in Grand Bahama. As for the reasoning behind not approving the event, the health minister says it's clear that the pandemic is far from over and officials would rather be safe than sorry.
Our hospitals are still under tremendous strain, and it is important for us to get our schools open fully. The only source of control that we can execute at the Ministry of Health is large gatherings. And science is clear that large gatherings, irrespective of the circumstances, are high risk for community spread.
Dr. Darville also addressed criticism over local hotels being allowed to host major concerts on property. He says the MOH was not okay with any of it.
We have definitely spoke to all of the hotel properties, and we have made our position very clear that we do not approve any of these concerts anywhere. And the record would reflect that the Ministry of Health and Wellness made that extremely obvious and clear, and we hold that same position.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
In other news, the Davis administration has slashed the salary that will be paid out to future managing directors of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, according to Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, Miles LaRota. The previous managing director, Catherine Smith, was paid an annual salary of $110,000 in addition to allowances before she was terminated.
I could say that since the termination of the former managing director of the DRA, the replacement salary has been less than half of that amount.
Smith is suing the DRA for just over $408,000 for breach of contract after she was terminated from the role last September. On Monday, DRA Executive Chairman Alex Storr told the Nassau Guardian the Minnis administration's decision to grant Smith a 4-year contract with more than $150,000 in salary and benefits annually was not a good use of taxpayers' dollars in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian.
Well, that matter is sub judice. She has filed a writ against the Bahamas government, the DRA.
Meanwhile, Tourism Minister Chester Cooper predicting the country's visitor numbers won't be significantly impacted by the arrests of 2 Crystal Cruises ships. He asserted they're practically out of business. Sasha Lightbourne explains.
2 senior cabinet ministers today sounding off on a cruise ship recently seized in Bahamian waters by U.S. federal agents.
The numbers that they brought were relatively low in comparison to the 5 million pre-pandemic cruise visitors that we received. So we don't expect a significant impact in the number of visitors as a result of their departure. However, we want them to do well, and they're having some financial issues clearly at their parent level. They're practically out of business, and it's a commercial matter between them and the people they owe. We wish them well for the future.
Minister of Transport and Aviation JoBeth Colby-Davis giving reporters insight this morning on Crystal Cruise Lines, which had 2 of its ships, the Crystal Symphony and Crystal Serenity, seized on Friday. There were only crew members on board, and they were allowed to disembark. Colby-Davis said the matter requires, quote, a delicate balance.
The owners of the ship had a warrant that was issued in the United States, and what they came into our jurisdiction because they're registered as a flagship under the Bahamas Maritime Authority, and as a result they have that right to come here. Now it's a delicate balance that has to be placed because they are one of our registered ships. All of their certifications are still in good standing, their insurance remains to be in good standing, and so we have to balance BMA's relationship with our ships as well as warrants that is placed on assets.
The cruise line had a 3rd ship seized in Argentina as well. Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
2 years before the lease for the current post office expires, a paper is currently before Cabinet to discuss requests for proposals. Minister of Transport and Aviation JoBeth Colby-Davis explains.
Put out a request for proposal, and we're just waiting for the review of those proposals that came in for the construction of a home for the post office.
Once Cabinet agrees, Colby-Davis says she hopes construction on the 18-month contract can begin this year.
I'm hoping for this year. The RFP comes to an end the end of this month, and so we'll go through all of the proposals and then take it to Cabinet and get a final approval on who will be carrying out that construction, that project. And once we have that, we'd hope for them to start soon as possible. Yeah, I'm asking for less than 18 months to completion.
Mostly clear conditions tonight. Meteorologist Greg Thompson has the latest in the Weather Center. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Christina. Welcome, everybody, for our first look at weather on this warm Tuesday evening. Outside our studios right now, temperatures in the mid-70s, 74 under clear skies, or we call it mostly clear. Very light winds out of the south at 2 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature very warm, 77 degrees. On our satellite, ridge of high pressure across most of the Bahamas is now sliding out towards the east. That's paving the way for a frontal boundary now across South Florida. A lot of clouds, a lot of showers associated with that system. It's going to slowly move towards the south, should get into the northwest Bahamas late tonight and into tomorrow, and increase our chances for some showers over the next day or two. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, a minister skirts the issue of marital rape, and one family's happy new beginning following last year's fire on Jenny Street. Stay with us.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
Though Minister of State for Social Services Lisa Ramming suggested last week the Davis administration will criminalize marital rape, substantive Minister Obi Wilshcombe declined to express his views. It's not the first time politicians have tiptoed around the sensitive subject. Jared Higgs takes a look.
It doesn't specifically say marital rape, but it's all-inclusive. It includes everyone.
But does it? Wilchcombe, Ramming's boss, declined to express a view on the controversial topic when the Nassau Guardian reached out to him on Sunday. He said, the major players in the various women's organizations, we're bringing them, the leaders, together for a discussion on all matters pertaining to gender. He says we're going to spend 3 days going through all to send proposals to the cabinet for further agreement before we are able to say where we are. It's not the first time a governing politician has refused to take a stance on the issue. Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis told ZNS back in 2017 that he didn't have a personal view on marital rape. His comments came days after his Social Services Minister, Lanisha Roll, said this to reporters.
In relation to marital rape, I've always said that it is an issue that is private. It can become public, but we want to start where marriage is sacred and marriage is private.
Fast forward to November 2021, Prime Minister Philip Davis announced his view on marital rape, saying it is wrong and that a national conversation is necessary. But those comments came after he faced backlash for saying the issue wasn't a priority for his government. Minister of Education Glenys Hanna-Martin has perhaps been the most vocal on the issue. Opponents of criminalizing marital rape largely point to the sanctity of marriage to support their stance. This 24-year-old student and many others we spoke to said they didn't think a husband could rape his wife.
Now you don't have sex and he forced you or you forced him, now it's marital rape or whatever the circumstances,
When it comes to marriage and bedroom activities, and the law now trying to make mandates and make laws on what should be done inside another man's bedroom, another woman's bedroom. I think we trampling on people's rights.
Of course, there are others, like former South Eleuthera MP Anthony Miller, who understand the sanctity of marriage, but also understand women's rights.
I believe that a woman's body belongs to her, even though when you marry her, her body's supposed to be yours. But I really believe that if a woman says no, it should be no, married or not.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Shifting gears, 8 months after their home was destroyed in the Jenny Street fire, one family received the keys to their brand new home in Sir Lyndon Pinling Estates last evening. Sharika Johnson was there.
The Browns were among several families left homeless last May when a fire on Jenny Street destroyed 6 homes and damaged 4 others. Today, they're turning the key to their new home in Sir Lyndon Pinling Estates.
Even if life throws you something that you're not prepared for, you take the time, you sit back, and you analyze, how can I learn from this? How can I benefit from this? We have tragedies, but there's always a learning curve. My learning curve was, we will no longer rent again.
Arawak Homes presented keys for the 2-bed, 2-bath home to Granville and Juliet Brown and their 3 children on Monday afternoon.
When Miss Brown, Mr. Brown, and their children would have watched literally everything physically being burnt. And today, ladies and gentlemen, from that date to now, we're here to celebrate.
Mistress Brown was tearful as she recalled the financial sacrifice her family made to purchase the home. She says she is thankful for the partnership between Arawak Homes and First Caribbean Bank.
It was really a lot of sacrificing and commitment and just knowing that I couldn't have this again. Like I told people, unlike the other fire victims, they had their properties to rebuild back on. My family and I was the biggest loser because we didn't own anything. So for us, I couldn't make that mistake again to have nothing.
Reporting for our News, I'm Sharika Johnson.
Education officials are searching for a temporary location for T.A. Thompson Junior High School students to engage in face-to-face learning as Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin acknowledges ongoing issues at the school.
Looking at a potential location this week. The technical staff and the unions will also have a look at it. And based on, I'm trusting that that location will be agreed.
Though public schools return to a hybrid learning system, Hannah Martin announced students at T.A. Thompson will continue classes virtually after teachers staged a sit-out over poor working conditions and infrastructural concerns.
We intend to have a meeting with teachers and parents in the next few days to update them as to where we are, to give assurances that we are keeping this on the front and center of our attention, and that we will seek to find solutions as quickly as possible.
When our news returns, the armed forces take a closer look at vaccination status for recruits and big Buddy Healed news. The details when our news returns.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
This is our news. Welcome back. While there are no plans to make it mandatory for members of the armed forces to be vaccinated, Minister of National Security Wayne Munro says officials are considering giving first preference to vaccinated recruits.
While it may not be mandatory, good sense would say you want to get together a group of recruits that would fit a profile that they can go through for 4 months without fear. And I gather that that is what is on the cards. And so if they are able to, I imagine that that is what I would expect to see, simply because training is in very close quarters.
The Davis administration has repeatedly said it will not make COVID-19 vaccines mandatory. However, Munro says they want to make the recruitment process as safe as possible.
They discuss health and safety matters constantly because the health of the recruits, the health of the men are important. You could imagine that in the Defense Force, you have 4 months to train. If you have an event that stops training for 2 weeks at a time, then you lose time. And so the Commodore and his training department would be concerned about taking steps to make sure that training is continuous.
Buddy Hield traded to the Indiana Pacers as the NBA trade deadline draws near. Marcellus Hall has the details tonight in sports.
All right, thanks, Christina. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Well, wondering about this picture behind me, don't get used to it. The reason I say that is because it'll be the last time you see that guy in that uniform. Sacramento Kings have traded Buddy Hield to the Indiana Pacers. So Buddy is now a new Indiana Pacer. He'll try to make his home there and see whether or not this will be a good lateral move for him. We'll see again. Keep an eye on this. We'll give you more details, a lot more details on this tomorrow. But the trade coming up today, that Buddy Hield has been shipped to Indiana. He will now be a member of the Indiana Pacers. Well, who's not going anywhere? That would be DeAndre Ayton, at least not for the foreseeable future. He's still a part of the Phoenix Suns. They still have the best record in the league. In action last night, let's take a look at the highlights. DeAndre Ayton and the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns back in action last night, taking on the very tough Chicago Bulls. Suns on the road, and that didn't seem to matter. This a good one, went right down to the wire, but it would be Phoenix outlasting the Bulls. 127-124 ends up being the final. Just in case you're wondering, how about our boy DeAndre Ayton back in action after, as you know, missing some games, but he's trying to make his way back into the lineup. Finished up with 13 points, 9 rebounds, an assist, and a block in 23 minutes on the floor. Suns continue their winning ways, as we said. They now improve, in case you're wondering, to 43-10, best in the entire NBA. That's their record to this stage. And looking at what's ahead for them, they will play their next game. That comes your way on Tuesday tonight when they take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Again, another road game. We'll see how that one turns out. Other news this time coming in from the University of the Bahamas, as the University of the Bahamas right now women's softball team practicing ahead of the team's first set of international games set for later on this week. Mingo's softball team expected to play 2 games Thursday in Miami Gardens against the St. Thomas University Bobcats, and then a game on Friday at Flamingo Park in Pembroke Pines when they'll take on Florida Memorial University's Lions. The team practicing over the weekend as they get set for the 3-game set, and the total will be the first for the UB Mingo softball team. Head coach Shane Aubrey saying his team is going into the tour full steam ahead and hoping to come back with 3 wins.
I'm looking forward to pull off 3 wins. Like I said, I'm not taking any of the games lightly. I had a conversation with the team a few nights ago, and I told them, I said, hey, we are going to win. This is not vacation. So we will see how best we compete, and we will compete, and we're going to win. So that is what we have planned to do when we travel.
I'm excited about the experience that we're about to face, and I'm looking forward to the teams that we're about to play and how we're going to work together as a team and how we're going to put in everything that we've worked so hard for.
I feel that we have a pretty good chance. We just gotta hit the ball, feel our plays, make less errors, and just give it our best on the field.
And that is your check on sports for you here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Marcellus. Still to come, putting the focus back on Bahamian culture. Stay with us.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
Welcome back to our news. Cloudy skies with a chance of rain this week. Greg joins us with the extended forecast.
Thanks again, Christina, and welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. Ridge of high pressure extending out of the Atlantic across most of the Bahamas, now sliding out towards the east very slowly, but that's all paving the way for a frontal boundary now across the southeastern United States and Florida to slowly sag towards the south. Should get into the northwest Bahamas late tonight and into tomorrow with some showers associated with that system. That frontal boundary will continue to progress towards the south, should move into the central Bahamas by tomorrow afternoon and stall. So we're looking for some cloudy conditions across most of the chain of the islands, exception being the southeast Bahamas. And by the weekend, we expect the system to fizzle out as it lifts back towards the north with high pressure building in behind this frontal boundary. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight. Your winds will be out of the southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, all ahead of that front. Shifting northwesterly behind that front tomorrow. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your low tide will be at 7:31 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, your winds will continue out of the east to southeast, 15 to 20 knots. Caution flag for you guys down there. Your seas will be running 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Tuesday. Some off and on showers expected in the forecast for tomorrow and possibly even on Thursday. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Well, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture hosting its first meeting with the Arts and Culture Commission, which was established to help rejuvenate the local entertainment industry. Minister Mario Boleg says promoting Bahamian culture is a priority for the Davis administration.
This administration is very serious about culture and bringing it back. There's nothing that we have planned prior to being elected or is about to do. We have not met with individuals who have given us idea. We are not the experts. We are not. Not one of us who sits in Parliament right now. We have partake in culture, me, myself, in John Canoe. I blow the trumpet, I rush, but I'm no cultural expert.
Officials discussed a number of issues, including the state of the Performing Arts Center, copyright laws, artist payment, and the development of a Performing Arts Institute. Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.